Sunday, here we go. So if I could go back in time, okay, we all do this to ourselves, right? If I could go back in time, I would do this. Hindsight Vision 2020. Now, if I could go back in time, I could solve a lot of my problems by having the mindset I have today. This is not an unfamiliar thought process. Why? Why is because experience is the greatest teacher, right? Pain is a great teacher of life in that sense, is because we can go back and reverse those decisions we made. Now, follow me here. Those decisions, some of the worst decisions of my life have come about due to me being a very highly emotional young man back in the day, right? And I'm completely the opposite today. And this is something called mastering your emotions. While no one really fully ever masters their emotions, you can become better at it by each mishap, by each decision that you thought was going to lead you to a better place, but you actually ended up taking 2, 3 steps back. In fact, it probably cost you a few things, right? It probably cost you a relationship. It probably put you in a compromising situation for some of us, maybe with the law, right? You get arrested for getting in a fight, right? Keeping all of these things into account, perspective, right? You gotta be around, you gotta watch how you react to certain things, to certain people, to the news outlet, to people feeding you crap all the time, right? And this includes your family as well, right? And at the same time, you need good people around your life that can actually tell you and guide you. And that's why you play, parents enroll kids in sports, in certain disciplines and art forms to create that discipline and to become more in tune with the emotions. And I think all of this starts at a very early age in our lives as toddlers, as young kids. You know, managing that anger and emotion is a big part and key to life. Like, if you understand what I'm saying, especially if you're an older person today, right? And if you're dealing with the same emotions and the same reactions and making emotional decisions, let me say that again, making emotional decisions. This is gonna cost you an arm and a leg, right? So even my relationships and a lot of my relationship issues have come about is because me, uh, being the anxious attachment style that I used to have, and I still sort of have it, but I'm better at it today. Being, if you combine all those factors, I made some horrible decisions when it's come to my relationships with women, right? And it's easy to pull someone's strings when they're highly emotional, because what happens when you're emotional, right? Think about it. You're not fully yourself. You're sort of having this out of body experience where you just want that pain to stop. You just want whatever is bothering you to just stop right away, and you want to get to the solution right away. Whatever it takes, you want that person that you're arguing with to just get out of your face, right? Like, you should know how to diffuse a situation too. And this is part of life. This is part of growing up, right? You are not yourself when you're thinking with emotion. And every time you're going to make a emotional decision and emotions are driving it, you have to think twice and stop yourself and realize it's hard to do. Trust me, man. Like, I have been there decades. I just don't get to this age, ripe old age of 49, to not be aware. I'm like, how dumb was I? Even getting into fights, like, there's a lot of things I could have walked away from that were provoking me, but I wanted to prove a point. That's another thing, right? The pride, the ego, the I can do it because I'm a man, right? Well, here's the wisdom of all of this, because I can say it. I'm an OG, a Gen Xer now. Is that the bigger man a lot of times is the one that's able to diffuse and walk away from the situation, right? And don't get me wrong, there are times we need to handle business, and some people really deserve what they're getting. But even in today's modern society that we're living, you don't know if they have a knife, you don't know if they have a gun. And these days, back in my day, there used to be something called fair fight, 101, no one jump in, 101, let's finish it. And even then, we would shake hands after that. We wouldn't kill anyone and strangle them and hit them with a tool. It was our hands that did the talking, right? It's all the hands that did the talking. And this brings back stories, memories for me personally. But those were stupid. And today, those things would be considered toxic masculinity, but that's a topic for another day. For the purposes of today, emotions can be a mother, man. If anything, what I would recommend is every time you get your heart broken, every time someone lets you down through an emotional decision, they're getting the better of you. They're getting the best of you because they have put you now what's called out of character. That is not who you are. That is not your higher self. That is being idiotic, of course, being emotional and erratic, right? You're not thinking straight. And there are a lot of people that would love to see you there because your growth would scare them because you have a lot of potential. You have the potential to do so much damage, meaning in the growth, in your personal growth. Damage, I mean this friendly way, but you are essentially going to leave them in the dust, right? Your growth, your potential scares people, and so that's why you have to really stop and think, right? When you are getting to that point, the boiling temperature, especially if you're young, yeah, like you're like a young man, right? You have to remove yourself from the situation, and that's why I take long walks. That's why these walks help me solve a lot of my pieces to the puzzle. I'm an older guy. I still have that 0 to 60, like it's there. I have that temper, but I'm able to think through the steps. Like, if it helps, write down the cause and effect of you making decision A, B, C. I have found myself writing things down actually help me visualize. I can not only visualize, but put my visions to paper. It helps me think better to ask myself the questions of the consequences that happen because I'm making an emotional decision, right? And sometimes making emotional decisions may not necessarily hurt you, but it could hurt your relationship. It could hurt your potential bond in years and years and years of that solidarity that you have with this person, be it your girlfriend, your family, or whatever, your best friend, that you could destroy it all in a split second and there's no coming back from it. Because remember, guys, words have a power, certain energy behind it that could either make a man or break a man. I'm saying man specifically in that sense for a frame of reference. It can be anybody. Words have a way of causing you damage for years to come. It can paralyze you. It can mentally cripple you for years and years and years, and it can impact the rest of your life and anything and everything you do, including your decisions you make thereafter that incident. So you have to really take the time out to say, okay, cut. I am not myself right now. I need to walk away because you know what? If you walk away from a situation and tell that person this is not a good time to talk, that I am very emotional right now and I'm besides myself, and you can see that temperature rising inside you, your blood, right? You have to remove yourself from the situation. That's how you deal with it. And then go for a walk, drink some water. These things help, right? And you have to ask yourself, why am I acting this way? Why has this person gotten a rise out of me? And a lot of times it has less to do with them because they don't control your output. They should not be controlling you. But believe it or not, but a lot of people do because we give them a power by reacting, right? I'm not telling you to get into stoicism, something that I practiced and works out for me very well. But I am only doing this is because I'm 49. You may be 29. You may be 21, right? And you may be looking at older guys like myself to sort of share how I break down my problems and solve it. I always try to see the finish line, the end product. What's the end goal of this decision? Where is it going to lead me to, right? Am I going to get hurt in this situation? Not physically, but what's the cost, right? You got the cost benefit. A lot of us are irrational. We don't think about the cost benefit of making this emotional decision. And this is where I say, once you're able to interject and step into your own self, step into your true self and your frame, you will be able to use logic, right? You're going to be able to talk yourself out of that emotional state. And don't get me wrong, guys, some of these decisions that we make in life, most things have emotional charge behind them. whether it's between each other, the opposing party, someone you're up against, or it's just one person getting hurt, or maybe it's both of you, right? The outcome, the decision that you're making, emotions attached to it, you have to remove the emotions from that decision, from that reaction, in order for things to make sense. And a lot of us are clouded with the judgment is because we have a lot of emotions tied to it. So the net of all of this is that you have to you have to make a conscious effort and a decision to step into your inner self, step into the light, right? Let go of the emotions and detach from the outcome and just be who you are, man. I know that sounds so simple, but a lot of this takes work. A lot of this takes repetition, discipline, right? Learning from situations. Not everything is going to be perfect, you know. It hurts. Tough decisions hurts. It's a tougher decisions that have a lot of emotions behind it is because of the meaning we give it, right? And once you're able to accept that pain is part of the process in decision making, and also joy, right? There's also joy. There's a flip side too, for the long haul, right? These things are life. You cannot control it, because if you're stuck with the end outcome and you got your emotions tied to it, you are going to be emotional, and that decision, that emotion is going to come back to haunt you for the long haul. It always does, right? So that's my quick and dirty today. It's getting hot. I'm gonna have to cut this video and come back to this later in the afternoon, but this is just a quick video on managing emotions and why it does not pay to be emotional. Okay, fuel that emotion into sports, athletics, your arts and crafts, you know, and a sports that actually brings out that aggression and you're able to control it in that sports environment. That's what I would highly recommend. Okay, folks, till the next video, I'm going to call it here. Mamba out.